The Borden Murders, Lizzie Borden and the Trial of the Century by Sarah Miller. Lizzie Borden took an axe. It happened every spring in Fall River, Massachusetts. Behind the curtained windows of the stately house she shared with her sister on French Street, Miss Elizabeth Borden heard the children skipping rope on the sidewalk, chanting a rhyme to the once popular tune of Ta Ra Ra Boom Dia. Lizzie Borden took an axe, gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. Year after year she listened to them butcher her family's tragic past. A new century had dawned since the brutal hatchet murders of Miss Elizabeth's father and stepmother captured the nation's attention. She had altered her name from Lizzie to Lizbeth and left the family home on 2nd Street, where the terrible deed was done, and still the ditty followed her. Most of Miss Lizbeth's well-bred neighbors up on Fall River's posh hill refused to speak about the Borden slayings, let alone the fact that the Borden's own daughter, Miss Lizbeth herself, had been accused of them. And yet their children never failed to learn the rhyme. The youngsters singing it now had not even been alive on August 4th, 1892, but that didn't stop them from contributing new verses. Andrew Borden now is dead. Lizzie hit him in the head. Up in heaven he will sing, on the gallows she will swing. Miss Elizabeth's sensational murder trial, the jury's momentous decision, the time she spent behind bars, none of that mattered. In the decades that followed, the citizens of Fall River, young and old, enacted their own sentence upon her. The members of the Central Congregational Church, where Miss Elizabeth had been a member of the Christian Endeavor Society and taught immigrants at the Central Mission Sunday School, publicly shunned her. Friends, even those who had testified to her innocence, quietly broke away. Over the years, mischievous children trampled her lawn and lobbed rotting eggs at the clapboards of her home. Handfuls of sand and gravel rained upon her window panes. They tied her doorknobs and stuck pins in her doorbell to make it ring nonstop. At least they did not chant their jump rope rhyme to her face when she answered the bell. Instead, they called her vile names before dashing from the porch. Gawkers in Oak Grove Cemetery, adults no less, rubbernecked at the sight of Miss Elizabeth Borden, come to tend the graves of her supposed victims. Miss Borden, don't pay any attention to them, Terence Lomax, the grounds foreman, often told her as he accompanied her to the plot where her parents lay alongside the baby sister she had never known. Certainly, Miss Lizbeth was grateful for Terence and the discreet handful of others who were kind and respectful to her in spite of her past. Everyone had heard the rumors about her beheading troublesome kittens and baby birds, but only a few knew of the tender notes and thoughtful gifts she dispensed. People like the coal delivery man who always found a slice of chocolate cake waiting inside Miss Elizabeth's basement, or the sick little girl who received a pretty painted bowl full of gumdrops with a $5 bill hidden at the bottom from Auntie Borden. There was little that Miss Elizabeth treasured above loyalty, and contrary to her public image, she delighted in dotting upon those, like Terence, who graced her later years with their companionship. But did Miss Elizabeth realize that even Terence, the sympathetic groundskeeper who made sure the paths to the Borden family plot were cleared in winter and was too polite to accept her persistent attempts to tip him, had gone to witness the spectacle of her trial as a young man? In the same way the children chanting outside her windows marked the arrival of spring for Miss Lizbeth, the newspaper headlines herald summer's peak. Every August, the Fall River Daily Globe observed the anniversary of Andrew and Abby Borden's death by printing another front page tirade against the incarnate fiend in human form who reigned cruel, vengeful, bloody blow after blow upon Andrew J. Borden's vulnerable head. Always, the Globe was at pains to remind the citizenry that the man or woman who had committed the crime still wandered among them. There was no need to print a name. Every man, woman, and child in Fall River knew perfectly well who the Globe's pointing finger accused. Lizzie Borden took an axe, gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. Today, everything most people know about Lizzie Andrew Borden is contained in those four sing-song lines of Doggerel, and nearly everything in those four lines is wrong.